Bridges, Ruby Bridges, a 6-year-old African-American girl. Again, I want to repeat, a 6-year-old African-American girl who courageously went to her first grade class in a New Orleans elementary school after court-ordered desegregation in 1960. White parents would not allow their children to attend the school, and angry crowds taunted Ruby as she was escorted to class by federal marshals. The courageous little girl began learning how to read and write in an empty classroom, an empty building. Ruby's teacher was amazed at Ruby's calm manner and perseverance to learn in such hostile environment. After many months, one white family began sending their sons to Ruby's school, and soon the other students returned and integration was achieved. Please join me in recognizing Ruby Bridges.
Our keynote speaker tonight is Mr. Crawford. Carl is the Human Rights Officer of Duluth and the University of Wisconsin Superior alumni. He works at the Lake Superior College as the Intercultural Center Coordinator from 2007 to 2016. He also helped draft the original Human Rights Ordinance, served as past chairman of Duluth's Human Rights Commission, and was a board member of the Clayton Jackson McGee Memorial. He is active with the Family Freedom School of Duluth and is a longtime youth and high school basketball coach. He has served on numerous boards of directors, including Community Action Duluth, Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce, Woodland Hills, Men as Peacemakers, the NAACP, the Ordine Foundation, SOAR, and the American Cancer Society. He is a recipient of the 2012 Martin Luther King Jr. Drum Major for Peace Awards and a wonderful mentor of mine. Let us welcome Mr. Carl Crawford on stage.
Well, good evening. Now you know you're in trouble because they put me between your chicken and your mac and cheese. It's gonna be just a minute. Can y'all wait a little bit? All right. What an amazing, lovely crowd tonight here for the soul food dinner. You know, someone in the crowd reminded me, we just can't wait to do this just one time a year, y'all. We got to do this more than one time a year. At this time, I would like our elders to please stand and be recognized. Our elders in the community, please. Please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. It is because of you we are here today. I would also like to thank UWS. Where's my jackets? And I want to thank UMD. Where the Bulldogs? I would like to thank all the students and committee for allowing me to speak to you this evening. I am truly both honored and humbled to be here. You know, just like many of you in the audience tonight, I was brought up to believe that anything is possible. I have come a long way from that little child growing up in South Central Los Angeles where dreams were sometimes turned into nightmares and tomorrow was never promised. You see, where I grew up, my family by today's standards would be considered working poor. In fact, that was my whole community. We were all on free and reduced lunch, looking forward to that rectangle pizza and chocolate milk for lunch. But we were blessed. We always had a roof over our heads, and me being the youngest and the only son, I never experienced a time when my father did not have a job. You see, my mother used to say, we may not have a lot of money, but we had each other, and that makes us rich. Well, oh yeah, that's worth it. I don't know how we made it, but we made it. Untouched by drugs and crime that played a part in so many African American boys' life, many of them my friends and teammates. Along the way, I was always given advice from people in my neighborhood. You know, today we give them titles, we call them mentors, but back in the day, they were just part of the village, just part of the hood. They helped me to persevere when I needed strength and hope. Now, don't be fooled. Not all the education I received back then, and even now, took place between the walls of a traditional learning institution. But above all, the love my parents had for me and my sisters was really the foundation that has carried us to this day. So the theme tonight of our conversation is Black voices. See, one of the Black voices I've had in my soul for a very long time is that of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I was but 2 years old when he was taken from us with that coward's bullet. But his words still ring true today. I would like to share this portion from one of his speeches that a lot of us don't know about. He says, "Do not conform is difficult advice in a generation when crowd pressures have unconsciously conditioned our minds and our feet to move to the rhythmic drumbeat of the status quo. Many voices and forces urges us to choose the path of least resistance and bid us never to fight for the unpopular cause, to never be found in a pathetic minority of 2 or 3. Those words spoken by Dr. King challenges us not to go along to get along, but be willing to stand alone for justice. As I have traveled throughout Minnesota and Wisconsin, given speeches and attending events, I have always been impressed by the intelligence, imagination, creativity, and humor of the American people. Lately, I have found myself wondering, how do we end up with such mediocre and spirited leaders in Washington? It is as if the best and brightest citizens boycotted elected public office. Why? We are lost in the woods and we have settled to choose the one person that is the most lost in anyone and say, please show us how to get out of this mess. Does that make any sense? No. Does that make any sense? No. One of the biggest issues facing us here in the Twin Ports today is that we, people of color, we don't know one another. Did you hear me? We don't know one another. There was a time when we did know each other and we worked together, and when we found that something wasn't good for us, we would share that information so our brothers and sisters would not fall into the same trap. But now we are divided. That must change. This hour in history requires us to come together, not to settle and be conformists, but to be non-conformists. In these days of worldwide confusion, there is a strong need for community who will courageously do battle for truth. Dr. King urges us on that we must make a choice. Will we continue to march to the drumbeat of conformity and respectability, or will we listen to the drumbeat of a more distant drum and move in a different direction? One of the other voices that guided my journey was that of Dr. Cornel West. How many of you know about him? He shares, we have to recognize that there cannot be relationships unless there is commitment, unless there is loyalty, unless there is love, unless there is patience and persistence. Brother West has taught me to love who I am and to love my people. We must build relationships and loyalty. See, they go hand in hand with our success and our ability to grow and build. It is only by confronting the twin realities of racism on one hand and our failures to seize initiatives and break the cycle of poverty on the other hand. One of the lessons I've learned that being a leader does not necessarily mean being loved. Loving one community means daring to risk estrangement and alienation from that very community in the short run in order to break the cycle of poverty and despair and hopelessness. This is why I was so honored that you invited me to be your speaker this evening. See, we are a community and we must work together. You've heard a lot this month about a beloved community. Right now, I would just settle for a safe community, for a community that respects each other, for a community that finds humans in all of us. But I must explain. You see, Duluth and Superior have never seen a community of color. Did you hear that? Yeah. See, a community is when you control the press and you control your finances and you control the outcomes for your people. We are all standing at the edge of an amazing time to make a difference. The time is now for you as students to use your voice. As student organizations on both campuses, you have taken a step of leadership in bringing us together here tonight. You see, I have no fear for the future. The future is ours. Because you are making it happen. I am so happy to be here this evening and that you are enrolled in our colleges and universities today. I have been waiting for you. Community has been waiting for you. It is because of you. I know that many of you in the audience, you have been affected by this travel ban and many other things going on in America today. Don't focus on him, focus on you. Stop chasing the headlines and the tweets. That has nothing to do with us. We got this. We always have. It's just time for us to grab it and move forward. We haven't seen it like this before, but if you ask our elders, we've seen it before. Oh yeah. If it was not for the brave women and men that were recognized throughout this program, we wouldn't be in this space together. The new destiny is yours, and the way we'll get there is through love. Learn from Dr. King and Malcolm X and Fannie Lou Hamer and Rosa Parks, but don't try to be them. That job is already taken and it was done well. Our new leaders must emerge from the experiences of today, not yesterday. The last voice I want to share with you this evening is the voice of the great Maya Angelou. Her voice is one that keeps me looking up above on many days. If you have only one smile in you, give it to the people you love. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion and compassion, some humor, some style. Well, try to be that rainbow in someone else's cloud. Thank you for allowing me to be here and speak to you tonight, and for allowing me to be in the presence of greatness. I wish you all the best. Thank you.